sweat that makes you drunk, and she's just awesome.
Water that has changed into a complex series of molecules.
This seems silly.
This is indeed silly. The thing that it is that is silly is that I am Aaron, and this is Sarah, and we are preparing to do a video of our reactions to The Naked. But I felt like I should be intoxicated for it, because the plot of the episode is that people are accidentally exposed to a thing that mimics the effects of intoxication. Unfortunately, we have basically no alcohol in the apartment because neither of us really drink. But since neither of us, especially me, really drink, I probably have very low tolerance to alcohol, so this amount of rum and coke might be enough to have a noticeable effect on me. So, Sarah, I can see you on the screen because of how we're videoing this, so I know that you are undermining what I'm saying with your head gestures, but we'll see. At any rate, if I stay lucid, I'll have lucid commentary, so it's win-win.
Okay, so welcome to Trekkie Tuesday. Today we decided to do a video blog because when we started writing episode summaries, they were kind of long, and I don't know if anybody read them, so we thought maybe we'd do it via video blog. This was a really silly episode, unlike all the other episodes. It involves a lot of interesting moments, like, oh, by the way, spoilers. Stop watching if you don't want to be spoiled. So Sulu, runs around without his shirt on. I guess that's the naked part. Or maybe it's your inhibitions are naked.
Yeah, everybody's emotionally naked.
Emotionally naked. Sulu's the only one who's only partially naked, so if you're watching for those kind of reasons, I'm sure there's other fan fiction you could read for that. Kirk does a lot of slapping for some reason, and I think he's in love with the ship, romantically. Although it's sort of confusing because he also wants to walk on a beach with either Janice or maybe Uhura. I was sort of unclear of who his interest really was. And we see Spock try to stop crying by doing math. That was fun.
It's a good technique.
And, we see, weird things about how, all Irish people apparently just like to sing drunkenly a lot. That's, a character trait.
Yeah.
That's, an inner self is a singing Irish person.
Irish people have to just be repressing that at all times.
Oh, and, flirty, too. So that's apparently... I'm sorry, all of Ireland, that is who you are. According to Star Trek. And I'm half Irish. Okay, so
use first-person pronouns when talking about Irish people, because you're descended from Irish kings, same as O'Reilly.
Basically, if I were on the ship, that would be what I would be doing, apparently. Or maybe I would be like the lady doctor.
She was the only person who was playing it subtly, I think, of all of the actors.
Yeah. By the way, that was number 1, featured in the pilot.
Rachel Barrett, she's everywhere in Star Trek.
Yeah, I really feel like she sounds interesting. I wish we saw more of her. Maybe we will. Maybe not.
Spoilers. She's everywhere.
She's everywhere, apparently. And then they discovered time travel. But we're well, that might be useful. But we don't really care. There was no, we're gonna imagine what happens. I'm pressing something on my MacBook, and whoa, I've accidentally discovered time travel. What's our reaction?
Well, that could be useful someday. We might.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna turn off my MacBook because, who cares? No, that would not be a reaction. Your reaction would be I'm gonna Facebook that at the very least. That didn't make any sense.
You should see the planet reforming.
Reforming, right?
But it doesn't. And the ship's clock runs backwards, which is the only way it can tell that they're traveling.
It's how would you... And then it's weird because they just had this, experience that was, kind of bad, and, some people died, right? So, you'd think they would be oh, well, we went back like, these were kind of shitty 3 days. Like, let's go back in time. Oh, wait, we just did that. We can undo that. But then Kirk is just like, oof, like, that was awkward. I wish we didn't go back in time. I want to, like, just, like, you know. So, I don't know.
Could have saved that guy from getting stabbed to death with a butter knife.
Could have. Yeah, butter knives, really dangerous, apparently.
Futuristic super butter knives.
We all, like, have this inner self that just wants to stab ourselves with a butter knife. I don't know. What else do you got?
I've got notes.
Notes. We're
Yes.
detail-oriented.
Yes. The, like, concept behind the captain's log continues to evolve. Here,
Yeah.
it's omniscient narration, but in the present tense. So it really does. There's really no time in which
No.
Kirk could have said, "Unbeknownst to us, a
Right.
disease is on the ship right now."
When does he say that? Is he saying that, like, as it's, like, maybe because he goes back into time, he just decides, I'll just record what happened for Captain's Log.
Yes.
Because we have to watch this crap over again, because I guess they don't do anything useful with those 3 days.
Let the women work too. Universal suffrage.
Right, suffrage? We don't have suffrage yet in space. Like, we can go into space, but I can't vote. Do some women vote in the future? And, like, is that, like, maybe, like, the green women alien slaves probably
They
don't vote.
they definitely don't have the vote.
They don't have
they
the
would
vote.
not
So,
to be called green.
but it
animal
would
women
make
slaves.
sense that Irish dudes would support green women because, you know, green and, like...
Spock is really good at analyzing other people's emotions. He's like really empathetic. He talks about people's suppressed feelings. He says, "Aha, yes, I recognize this thing as the thing that this guy has been suppressing." How does he do that?
I think that makes total sense for his character and actually makes him so likable as a character. Because I think we have this idea that in order to understand people, you have to feel. Like, that should be the only way you communicate or the only way you think is through feelings. But I actually think that people who are a little more analytical can, not always, but can use that analysis towards emotions. And so that's why I think introverts can be social workers, for example. And I think that makes a lot of sense to me.
Definitely Spock gets a big character boost from this episode with the revelation that he's suppressing his emotions.
Yeah, and he's like, oh my god, that was so touching. He's like, I never told my mom that I love her, and like, imagine what she must have felt being on that planet. So that makes even more sense for me that Spock would be really good at spotting emotions, because the idea isn't that he doesn't feel them, I think, but the idea is that he knows it's like not fashionable or something, right? How does he phrase it? Like, it's
not in good taste.
Not in good taste, right? So it's not, I don't know. And so I think Spock is sort of just like that scene with Spock and Kirk, I feel like it's just sort of representing like dude culture. Well, not dude didn't really exist, but like men and like how you're not supposed to like show your feelings, and also like maybe even white people in general, like they don't talk about anything, right? It's not fashionable, like it's not in good taste to get overly emotional. Pretty convinced from this episode that Kirk is in love with Spock. Well, no, I think Spock's in love with Kirk.
Yeah.
Kirk is in love with the Enterprise and maybe women in general.
Yeah, yes. Fantastic moment where Sulu calls her a fair lady, and she says, sorry, neither. Do they really have a bowling alley, or was that just O'Reilly being whimsical?
Yeah, I don't know. O'Reilly actually had some pretty good ideas. Ice cream.
Three-dimensional bowling.
Bowling's already
I'm pretty
three-dimensional. It's like this way.
Well,
this
everything's three-dimensional, but like, there could be 3 tiers, and you try to get the ball to curve because they've changed how gravity works.
Anti-gravity bowling. McCoy rips off Kirk's shirt totally unnecessarily, and it doesn't really make any sense to give him the injection, and it's just really funny. And then everyone just is sort of like staring Kirk down to make sure he's like okay, and they're like all in this weird pose. I feel like early on they like begin and end most shows with like the 5 or 6 of them on the bridge or whatever, like in these ridiculous poses where they're like.
I hadn't noticed that until you pointed it out when we were watching.
No, it's been like in almost all the episodes. It's kind of neat. It's sort of like these tableaus or whatever. Later on, I feel like they just start like being like, you know what? Like people would be running a ship. Like if there are 5 people, that's probably because there are 5 tasks. And also, there's always like a random woman like that's not doing anything and always a blonde. So sometimes it's Janice or other times it's that other girl that was there for no reason. I think like Smith or something. That are just like standing around. They literally are not doing anything. Is very odd, and they like just sort of are next to the captain. I don't know if they're like a secretary or like what, but they don't seem to be doing anything.
They're yeomen.
Yo, what? It's the naked time.
Naked time.
Thank you for watching.
I'm not drunk enough to take off my shirt at this moment.
Don't take off your shirt. Thank you for watching, and tune in on next Tuesday for us to break down the enemy within.